got on The Price is Right at one point?
Actually, it was for my 30th birthday. So once you've been on The Price is Right, you can't go on again for 10 years. So next month, I turned 40 in April. And so my 40th birthday, my Price is Right.
So hold on. So you're gonna go try to go back and like try to get the title back?
Yeah, you can go back on after 10 years. So when I went on,
can you call them like, yo, I'm a former contestant, like the champ, like they never had like a Champions Edition, did they? Like
no. They just, when you go, so I can tell this will be a great scoop for your podcast. This is basically how you get on The Price is Right.
Okay.
I went once by myself, which is almost impossible to get called up, because the whole thing about The Price is Right is they want to call people who are going to be with people who are going to cheer like crazy when they get called up, you know? So having gone once, I went once by myself just because I wanted to see it before Bob Barker retired. That was like a goal, life's goal.
Yeah.
So I saw Bob, went on by myself, got the lay of the land, and then I waited until my 30th birthday to go back for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to, I knew that you got to get a group reservation. That's like 100% the key. So if you have a group of 15 or more, and they are sticklers, if it's 14 people, you lose all the credibility or all the perks of being a group. So you got to get 15 people, and you get you sign up and get your reservation ahead of time. Everybody else has to like get there super early in the morning. It's hours of waiting, and there's
Alec Pinkston, come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
Alec, birthday boy, celebrating his 30th birthday today.
Elegantly crafted, breathtaking collection. Dev Valencia.
Thank you, Manuela. $1. All right. Actual retail price is $710. Alec, come on up here, buddy. A flip, $6,998. Let's find out if he's on his way to Santa Fe. Yeah, we got it. Happy birthday to Al. Showcase.
No, like, it's just like, you know, we start handing out numbers at 6 a.m. and then you come back at like 10:30. But if you have a group reservation, you show up at 10:30, your group's already in, you're good to go. So I found 15 people, and I got shirts made for everyone that specifically called out the fact that it was my birthday. So I'm like, okay, I've got my group, boom, 15 people. On everybody's shirts, it says like, I don't even remember what, we did like a fill in the blank kind of thing, like a Mad Lib, where it's like, I want to win blank by playing blank in order to celebrate Alec's 30th birthday or whatever. So everybody had their own thing. I was like, I want to win a hot tub by playing, I don't know what even game I listed, but
Plinko or something.
Yeah, exactly. So when you go in, they interview every single person. And this is kind of the key, is when they interview you, like, you got like the moment they start interviewing you, your people, your group have to be like excited and like just like lift. Like the moment you start getting interviewed, I think they started singing happy birthday or something. It was like, it really like branded me as like, okay, because they almost, it's not a guarantee, but they literally will almost pick one person from every single group. There'll usually be like 4 or 5 groups in any one taping, and you almost always see any group get at least one person called out. So I knew my odds were within like 1 in 15 if I made a group reservation. And then if it was specifically my birthday, then it's going to be ways even higher. So I get called up, and it's like the 5th pricing game. So it's getting like down to the wire, like of just being called up at all. So I go up to contestants row.
Yeah. Send it. Yeah, I'll put it in here now.
Video is pretty good. So the first pricing game comes out. I throw out, it's like for some kind of radio or something like that. I throw out a bid. The girl next to me throws out a bid slightly higher. She gets picked. She goes up to play for a car and loses. She plays the dice game too.
Oh, the big dice that you were to roll out.
Yeah. So I only had 2 chances because, like I said, it was the 5th game was right before I got called up. So, you know, first chance is already blown. Second chance is up. and they bring out some jewelry, and the girl, the Barker's Beauty or whatever they call him now, comes out, and she's like, comes right in between us, and she's showing this ring, and I kind of get caught looking at her boobs a little bit on camera. Nevertheless, the ring comes up, and I from my training, I'm like, okay, the jewelry on this show is always way overpriced, way more than you think it's going to cost. So my strategy is I'm going to have the highest bid no matter what. So everybody does their thing. I look into my group of people, and I can specifically see Colin Rolfing saying $1, and I ignore that completely, and I give it the highest bid, like $1,200 or something. Everybody has overbid. So now,
so if you put $1, you would have had it on that one.
I would have had it. So now, not only do we have to rebid, but now in the back of my head, I'm like, oh man, somebody in my group gave me the answer. I ignored their advice, and
I can't
now
do it again.
he's gonna hold that over my head for the rest of my life. So that is in the back of my head this whole time as everybody else is bidding. I haven't even heard what they've bid. I have no idea. Now it's up to me. I have no idea what the other bids are. And I basically am just like $1. And I just don't even, I've kind of realized that, like, I've gotten this far. Now it's all, I've blown it. So he says the price, and like I said, I never even heard what everybody else bid. So I have no idea. So I'm just looking up at the screen, and then I see like my number is flashing, and all of a sudden it hits me that I've won. And I was like, oh my God. I was so excited just to make it on stage, because like having the experience of being called up and not getting out of contestants row has got to be just.
And then they give you that rice-a-roni on your way out.
Exactly. Soul crushing. And my dad, years earlier, had been a contestant on Wheel of Fortune and lost. And he was in the third spot. And anytime Wheel of Fortune ever came on TV, he would always point out that the person in the third spot was doing the worst. And he always blamed it on being in the third spot.
Oh, he said it was just a thing of being in the third spot.
Yeah, that's what he's always blamed it on. And,
So yeah, you go into what game did you have?
I can't remember. It was called Flip Flop, actually. And it was super simple. It was, there's 4 numbers in the price of this vacation, and you either flip the first 2, the last 2, or flip them both. So the prize was a trip to Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is probably to this day the worst destination I've seen given out on The Price is Right ever. I mean, I was like, Santa Fe? All right. And it was like, and you'll tour the George O'Keeffe Museum. All right.
The George O'Keeffe Museum.
Yeah. So the price listed was something like, it was like $96.25. So it's either the price of this trip is $9,625, or you can flip to be $6,900, or you can flip to 25 to be 52, or you can flip them both. So clearly, right out of the gate, a trip to Santa Fe
is not $9,000.
Not $9,000. And really, it's not $6,000 either.
No.
So I flipped the front 2. Again, my research had told me that typically when there's like 3 choices of flip one, flip the other, flip both, usually it's one or the other. Very rarely do they have you flip both. That was my own logic going into it. So I flipped the front 2 because clearly it's not a $10,000 vacation, and I win. And, when they break it down, and I'm like, how is this whole thing? Because it's like airfare, hotel for a week, George O'Keeffe Museum, and then like $500 spending cash. And so I'm like, how do they get to $7,000 in this thing? Well, they had the airfare listed as like $4,000 or something outrageous.
Is it first class?
From Los Angeles. Los Angeles to Santa Fe is probably like a
45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so I declined the airfare because I was like, I don't want to pay the taxes on that. Just give me all the other stuff. So, long story short, I ended up taking the trip. There was a girl I was quasi seeing at the time who came out there and stayed with me for a buddy came out for the first 4 days, and we were trying to write a screenplay. So we just kind of locked ourselves in the room.
Yeah, and just locked it down.
Wrote the screenplay for 4 days straight and went out and ate and whatever. Then I had a day by myself, And then I had this girl who I had been seeing come out for the weekend.
So did you drive? You just paid your own airfare out there?
Yeah, I just bought my flight. But I remember the day that I had by myself, I was at a bar and I was trying to like figure out what to do.
Because it's Santa Fe.
Literally like turned to the guy to my right and I'm like, if you had one day in Santa Fe, what would you do? And his answer was, I would get drunk as fuck. And I'm like, okay.
I'm already starting.
I guess it probably is going to be your answer for any city. So then I literally turned to my left later on and had asked a totally different person the same question who had not heard anything before. And she said, I would get high as fuck. And I'm like, okay, well, Santa Fe locals seem to just drink and do drugs.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a nice hotel.
So you got to the Showcase Showdown, right?
I didn't. I got to the wheel and the guy, I don't remember. The guy before me had spun like 90 or 95 cents. So I had like a pretty tall order. So I got to the wheel and spun like 75 or something. And I had to spin again to try to hit exactly 25 and didn't get it. So I did not make it to the Showcase Showdown. But, you know, now I got a chance, you know, for my 40th birthday, here's
to try to come back.
Yeah, now the redemption. I don't know if you've seen there's a documentary about a guy who like memorized all the prices and he created his own simulations and like would practice and he would go in the crowd and he would feed people information and he basically won whoever was like standing before or after him in line, because you get to know the people you're in line with really well because you're standing in line for like hours and hours and hours. So if you're not there with a group, you're definitely going to meet the strangers that you're in line with. And so he would just meet these people and win them all kinds of money. He would tell them like, listen, I really study this really tightly.
So he was like the Legend of Bagger Vance, but for Price is Right.
100%. And so there was a scandal a couple years back where somebody hit the Showcase Showdown price to the dollar. And the show was all freaked out because they thought somebody had cheated, which wasn't entirely untrue. It was the guy that this documentary is about who had fed the price. And he's like, you know, I should not have given him the exact price, but in my head, I knew that was the total because they recycled prizes all the time. I mean, if you paid attention, you know, you could definitely do the homework, but he was only on there, you know, you can only go on once in 10 years. So he went like 30 times. He only got called up on stage once. And when he got called up on stage, I think he played Plinko, which is like the only game where there's not a lot of skill. I mean,
it's randomized for real.
Yeah. So yeah, Price is Right was like literally a life's goal. Originally, the plan was because when I turned 30, my mom turned 60 and my grandpa turned 90. And I wanted to bring all of us. And then something happened. My parents' flight didn't work out. So my folks had come in town, but they weren't able to stay for the taping. And my grandpa at that point was too hard of hearing and old to make the trip. So it ended up just being me. But the fact that I got on it and my grandma, who was like the world, you know, as everyone's grandma is like the world's biggest Price is Right fan. But the fact that I made it on the Price is Right in her lifetime was literally a life goal for sure. So it was, the Price is Right. I still have the ring. I think the last time when my folks were last headed to Las Vegas, I think I gave my mom the ring to borrow for good luck, but I think she has it. Yeah. I still have the ring somewhere.
So man, before we get into like your career now, being a producer, writer, all this stuff,